Hey guys, you're listening to the Sistership pod with Dami
and Korede.
We got there eventually.
We are at the end of season two.
That's so crazy.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? I feel like as well, because we've been a bit more consistent this season, it feels like it's come quickly.
Flown
when
by.
did we start recording the season? I think like March.
Yeah.
And we should be done by now actually.
We've hardly had a break.
We only had one slip up.
Yeah. In terms of like our schedule, we really do want to post every other week, guys. That's kind of our
We're getting there. I think
goal.
by the end of season 3 we would have nailed it.
But we would have nailed it by the end of next season. I just think,
by God's grace.
Thank you guys for being patient. Thank you for riding with us.
Thank you for listening.
Have consistent listeners. Like we do have people that listen.
Honestly, when we get that info from your mom, I'm just like, people actually listen to us.
It's so exciting to know that people actually tune in and are valuing what we're saying, and there's discussions going on in your own circles. Do you know what I mean? It's rewarding almost. So I think it would be nice for us to do something a little bit different for this final episode. What we were gonna do was like answer some questions that have been thrown at us, and maybe we'll circle back to this concept in another time. But it's going to be less discussion based and more just Q&A, get to know as an outro to this season finale. So let's go. Let's start with the first question.
Okay, let me ask you the first question. The first question is, do you believe in second chances? I know your answer to this question.
I think I'm predictable because my answer to this question is yes.
100%.
Yeah, I do believe in second chances. I think in all capacities, like everybody deserves a second chance. I don't think there's really anything that someone can do that doesn't warrant them another chance. If we're talking about relationally, if there's something that somebody does to like abuse the relationship that you guys have, or that in that case,
or steps out of the parameters of the relationship,
what a relationship's duties are, then the second chance doesn't need to be with you, but they are warranted a second chance. Does that make sense? They should be given the opportunity to try again, but it doesn't mean that you need to accept.
You need to be back with them,
back with that person or whatever it is, or that friend that keeps violating. No, that's not the case. But they do deserve a second chance to try again, maybe in another relationship or whatever it is. I do feel like we have to always go back, and I feel like we find a way to do this every single episode. It's so crazy that it's happening this soon, but we always have to try and back this with the word. I think as we're growing,
hold on,
but I couldn't. I try to give real world examples. I struggle, but I'm just going straight back to the word. Like for me, it's always
these are the only examples that make sense.
The only example that makes sense to me right now is, what would Jesus Christ do?
Jesus Christ said, "What? Forgive him 7 times, 70 times, or something like that."
Like,
meaning,
there is no reason why you shouldn't have a second chance. We as humans have been given a second chance when we're allowed that opportunity to be born again and to let go of our worldly behaviors and attitudes, and we're allowed to try again. We're allowed to foster a new relationship with Christ. We
honestly,
like,
mercy,
who are
grace.
we to say as humans, when we've been experiencing God's mercy and God's grace, where he's given us second chances? He might even give you 1,000 chances, million chances in one day.
Think any of us
sometimes we don't even know how many
put
chances
into numbers
we're
how many chances God has given us. So it's
who are we
giving.
To then say,
how dare you say that you don't?
Then you're not deserving of it.
Give someone a second chance. No, you don't have to give someone a second chance, but in terms of forgiving and allowing for that person to have an opportunity to try have again, a second chance,
to that redemption period,
you are not the person who's going to decide that.
So I guess if you put second chance, giving somebody a second chance, the phrase with forgiveness, then yes, like you have no right. But I do think there should be boundaries, and that's why I'm saying that second chance doesn't have to be with you. You're giving them a second chance to experience. Sorry,
just had an idea. Do you want to ask me another question?
Yeah, sure. Because you feel like you have the same opinion as me.
You've answered.
Yeah? Okay,
I'm not the forgiving type though. I think I'm less forgiving than you, but damn, I'm getting there. I do agree. Everyone needs to be able to be forgiven. Not forgiving someone takes so much energy.
Yeah.
Actually, I am a forgiving person. I feel like I am a forgiving person. If you just approach me correctly, we can make something work.
Cool. I was going to ask you this question, and I guess because we've already started speaking about God, let's continue in that realm for now. If you could ask God any question and receive a direct answer, what would it be? Because you can ask God any question, but if you could receive a direct answer right as you ask that question, what would it be?
Right now?
Yeah.
When am I getting married?
When?
Yeah.
As opposed to who?
Yeah, not the who. Because I know the who will make sense if I'm pursuing God in regards to who it is.
So that one is a let go and let God type thing. Yeah. Okay, but it's more of the
definitely when I want to see like how many years have I got to play.
Oh my days, that is so funny.
Days. But yeah, so funny. When am I getting married? Like, is it going to be the year that I have in mind? Are you right?
Is it going to be later? Is it going to be sooner?
What would you ask?
I feel like God will probably tell you that that's down to you. I think God is a mysterious kind of.
No, he's a mysterious person.
He'd be like, it's down to you and your and what you decide to do with the reasons that you have.
It's so nice to hear what you think he would say.
I think, what would I ask God if I could get a direct answer? I just want to know, like, how comfortable I'm going to be in this life.
I was literally about to say, if I asked him another question, my next question would be like, God, am I going to be okay?
Am I going to be okay? Like, am I going to be comfortable? Am I going to have to, like... I know God, the Bible says you don't have to want for anything, and yes, of course you don't, but I think it's more so in the, like, material, which is not something, like, you should necessarily ask for, but it is something that my heart...
But I would like to have a little... Inkling, or, like, have a little look into the future. Like, God, can you show me what my life is going to look like? Yep. Like, does it all pay off?
Yeah. Do you see what I mean? So that's what I think I would ask him.
I think that would be my next answer. That would be my serious question. Yeah. When am I getting married?
And then the next one would be that. Yeah, no, fair. So let's move on and do another question, because I just want to know number 3 on that list, because we did random generator, you guys. We've got a long list, and that's why I said we'll circle back to this another time.
Yeah. Okay, so I've got it.
Number 3.
What's most important to you right now?
I always struggle with like questions that are to do with like the superlative and the most important and the best and the this and I really can't answer those questions. There are a number of things that are floating around in my head right now that are super duper important. Like, one of them, of course, is bettering my relationship with Christ. I feel like there are so many things right now that is like, Korede, if only like you were more receptive to hearing God's word, or you were more active in like getting to know him more and developing that relationship. There are some things that will just be easy. Like, you're really making life difficult for yourself by not doing that. So I feel like that is like the most important thing if I had to choose one. But without being too Christianese, like, it's not every day. I mean, it is every day, but you know what I mean? Like, it's not like, like, talk about something else for once. I think outside of that, I would say getting my health on track would be another thing, and my finances on track as well. But I think that will change very soon with like the moving out of a student setting into a working setting. Finances, you and me both, and making those meeting those financial goals that we set for ourselves, and then also just like health wise, I think for me is just getting it in order a bit more, because I'm only getting older and my body's only slowing down.
Literally, you need to get it together
right and tight sooner rather than later, because it only makes life difficult for myself. What about you? What would you say is the most important thing for you right now?
I had an answer to this and it's left my head.
It's fine.
So my Christianese answer would be my relationship with God is the most important thing right now. And then the second thing would be probably my finances, to be honest. I actually had an answer for this. If it comes back to me, I'll let you guys know.
Answer it. That's
but I think God, and then getting myself together financially, just so that I can step into the working life with a bit of stability. Because
being a student is really quite
a rocky road right now.
Like, it's really quite rough. But God willing, like, those things will...
all things work together for the good of those.
Period. That's on Romans 8:28. Well. Like,
period. I have a question.
Go on.
Oh no, you go.
Yeah, I was gonna ask one.
What were you gonna ask? Because imagine you picked the same question.
Was it the question that was like, what about yourself do you have trouble acknowledging? Okay, fine. That would have been another twin moment. You can ask me that though. That's what I was gonna ask, because I think that's quite a...
So what is it?
We just spoke about what's most important to us, and both of those things are changing things. So
what's the question?
Ourselves.
What number is it?
What do you have trouble acknowledging about yourself?
Oh, I spoke about this the other day. I'm an obsessive person.
Okay.
I feel like I always had an idea of how obsessive I can be.
Right.
But I never wanted to admit it to myself because I used to like try and convince myself that I had the most self-control. But the way life is looking currently, I think I have to be honest with myself and actually say that, I think I have an obsessive personality.
Yeah. I always say I've got an obsessive personality.
You're really good at saying that you are obsessive, but I was in a
denial.
Yeah, I was in denial first. Yeah. That's quite a strong word, but I agree with you.
I think in denial was just like you just didn't really want to. That's what not
I didn't want to acknowledge it. No, I know.
Just the shortened form. Not that I'm
not
trying to
acknowledge sounds nicer.
Yeah. It's not something that you wanted to acknowledge. True.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about one for myself because I genuinely think when something is wrong. When something is not so right with me, should I say, I'm so quick to pronounce it. What's something about myself that I don't like to acknowledge? I find that a really difficult question to answer.
What, you think you're really self-aware?
I don't think it's...
Yeah.
Sorry, our friend just came in and interrupted us.
No culture, it's fine.
I think what's one thing that I wouldn't say that it's necessarily a self-awareness thing because there are things that people tell me is a problem, but I think
do you see it as a problem?
So I don't struggle to accept them as, but these might not be things that I've seen in myself, but you tell me about them and I can still see it. So it's not like I'm going to struggle to acknowledge that what they're saying is no, it's not like that. I think
you're really good. You're open to criticism.
I'm learning to be better. I think that's God doing a work in me. I think before I did struggle like with it. I don't know actually. I don't know.
Because I feel like with you, you're quite like, I feel like you can justify your actions, right?
Because they're all really, really thought out.
Yeah.
Beforehand.
But sometimes you do things though that I'm just looking at you like,
girl. But that's just the impulse in me. But I would say I'm an impulsive person as well. I can be impulsive at times.
I think you're impulsive in regards to like the superficial and buying things and maybe spending money, but you're not superficial when it comes to like dealing with people.
Yeah, the impulsive. I think about things. I do take my time. It's a hard question to answer. What is maybe you will circle back to that? Yeah, I think I have to do some more. I have to do some more like digging and uncovering. Like,
yeah, because I think
everybody should have something that is like you can acknowledge, and then there are some things that you kind of like want to shy away from. Everybody has that, but I'm just struggling to like vocalize it. I don't really know at this stage. Sometimes I need some time to think about things. I always need time to think about things before I say them out loud.
Exactly, that's a good trait. The next question I think we should answer is, actually no, we can answer this one last.
Okay, so we'll do one question more.
Will be our last.
We'll do one question more, and then we'll do question 12 last. So let's do the question in between first.
I think I want to pick. That's a hard question. Number 6.
It's a good question though. The question reads, good question. What does happiness mean to you and how do you pursue it? Do you know what's so interesting? We've spoken about this on the podcast before. We haven't necessarily branded it as happiness.
As what we see as happiness.
But we've spoken about it when we spoke about discipline in season 1 and our approach to self-gratifying and like how I think in that contentment, and also like how we would make ourselves feel good and I guess it's happiness in those moments, or the joy that we'd feel in those moments of making ourselves feel good, which might mean that in the grand scheme of things we're being a little bit indisciplined. There was self-indulgent. We were self-indulgent. I think we've grown out of that mentality, do you know what I mean, where it's like the happy, I'd like to think so.
Sorry, guys, we had to look at her.
It was on purpose. We're trying to grow out of that. Like, season 1 wasn't that long ago, guys. Each season is 7 episodes, so not too much now. But
that made me chuckle.
I think we're trying to move away from equating happiness to that self-indulgence, because happiness is beyond that. Like, there is happiness in discipline, although it doesn't feel that way. Do you see what I mean? There's happiness in leading a disciplined life, because ultimately you are achieving milestones, if you will.
You're working towards achieving a
something. Like, you are bettering yourself by virtue of being more self-controlled and more disciplined in the way that you go about things. It doesn't necessarily feel the nicest though, and that's where that it's hard. Yeah, like where it doesn't. They're not equal.
Yeah,
like
they aren't. They have never been equal.
Do you see what I mean? So I don't know if I could maybe describe that as happiness to me. There's a feeling of fulfillment, I guess, would be in happiness. Walking in when you feel like you're doing what you're meant to do.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how I see it. I think if I'm going to say there's a word that I equate happiness with, being content. I think happiness is happy. When you say someone's happy, is quite an expressive emotion.
Yeah.
And when you say someone's content, being content is not necessarily an expressive emotion.
It's not an emotion at all. I think it's a state of being.
State of being.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just content, right?
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of things that can make you happy.
Yeah.
And you're not always happy, because happiness is an emotion. Sometimes you might be sad.
Well.
It is very fleeting.
Yeah.
I think I'm working on getting closer to a state of joy. Mm-hmm. So that means finding the positivity in every situation.
Yeah. That's a good thing. I think that's one way to pursue, I guess, happiness or that fulfillment or that contentment. If you will.
Yeah.
Is by virtue of trying to turn a blind eye to the negative and try not to pronounce those things, because what you say will be, so like trying to be joyful requires a work in you.
It's intentional.
It's so easy to sit in the negative and so easy to sit in the complaining and the things aren't looking good and like the pessimistic side of things. It's so easy to stay there, and it becomes a snowball and it just keeps going and going and going. You can find something
and
bad here.
To wallow.
And you begin to honestly, and you end up being so, like, there's that spirit of despair. That's, you want to work on being the opposite.
Victim
mindset mentality. But yeah, that's a good question. And it's something to think about. Happiness, I think, might change as your seasons change as well. What makes you happy changes. But happiness, again, like we said, is that fleeting feeling. It needs to be more rooted, I guess, or your approach needs to be more rooted in being content and being fulfilled.
Yeah, so...
Yeah.
Those are things to think about. Number 12, you can ask this one.
Okay, so 12, the final question, you guys, is... What do you say? What would you say? Sorry, is the what would you say is the most interesting thing about the person sitting next to ya?
Yeah, this is the nice question to end on.
That laugh was so scary.
I didn't want to get into it.
Oh my days. I don't even want to look at you. And you know, you guys know me. I find these types of things so cringe. Like, please, let's not.
You better get serious, please.
No, okay. What's the most interesting thing about me?
No, you are. Okay,
yeah.
I've got to answer it.
You have to answer it, and then
about you.
Yeah,
I have a few things that I think are interesting. What should I say for the podcast?
What is an interesting thing?
An interesting thing. Oh, I don't like that word.
What would you want to change the word to? We can change it. Why not?
What would you say is the most... do you know what? I would want to say, what are one of your best qualities?
Okay, we can do that. We do that a lot, and I think it's good that we do that a lot because it's a reminder.
Like how good you are with people.
Yeah,
it's very inspiring. It's made me work on how I interact with people, how I treat people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm lucky that you've been very close by in these years. These what's the word?
Formative.
It's not really formative years anymore.
It is though, because we're babies. We've given our lives to Christ, so we're still in that formative stage.
But yeah, I think you had a lot of. Obviously, you still have things that you needed to work on, but I think your foundation was good in how you talked to people, how you perceive people. I think you have a more positive outlook on people in comparison to me.
I try to,
and I think that is such a good thing to have. It's a good way to walk about this earth. I think that's one of your best qualities.
I think, do you know what's so interesting? Mine for you would be the conscientious, driven state that I see you in pretty much all the time. Like, obviously, I met Dami in a phase where she's working towards the goal. She's still working towards the goal now, if we're talking educationally. But even outside of education, I even think the small little goals that you have set for yourself, even if it's like, look, guys, I'm not going to lie, this week, I'm going to go this, that, and the other. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go there. I'm going to go there. And Dami's going to definitely do it. If she doesn't do it, she's frustrated with herself. Whereas for me, if it was the other way around and I don't do it, I'm looking for ways to self-soothe. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that approach to always wanting to better in yourself and always wanting, and the driven, like that drive to make sure that you are performing and always showing up as your best self is one thing that I would say is really, like, I really like. And it makes me want to do that. Because I'm just like, does she have 2 heads? Why is it that when I've not done what I need to do or I'm not achieving my goals or this and the other, I'm looking for ways to feel sorry for myself? Like, I should really want, it makes me want to want more for myself, because you said, look, I'm going to do this and it's getting done. One by hook or by crook, it's getting sorted. There's that sort of reliability in your character as well. That means if she says she's doing something, more than likely it's getting done. Aww. And even if it doesn't get done right away, it's being sorted out, or she's finding a way to plan B it. Do you know what I mean? So like, it's gonna be sorted one way or another. But I'm saying, like, she's conscientious about
the plan
things.
B thing, because I wouldn't speak until maybe I thought about what's gonna happen next.
But it is so, like, I think it's one of those things that also makes me want to improve as well, because I like to take it easy on myself. But I do think it's so important to always want to
Let me
better.
just accept the compliment.
No, it's a compliment, because ultimately, if not, I would have been left by the wayside a long time ago. Like, there would have been things that I would just been like, it's not that deep, but like shrug things off, when really and truly sometimes you do need to sit with maybe your shortcomings, or sit with your you have to sit with them and think about how you can change it, because if you don't do anything different next time, it's going to be the same outcome every single time. But you are so good at that sort of adapting to making sure that those goals are achieved.
Sounding like a Cheshire cat.
But I think that's a nice way to end it. Oh, please. It's nothing.
But yeah, guys, that is the end of Sistership season 2.
Yeah.
I can't believe season 2 is done. It feels weird.
It does.
I just feel like we're racking up numbers now, because season 2, guys, we only released 14 episodes.
Yeah.
But this is kind of how we envisioned it. We didn't want to have seasons with like episodes.
It needs to be those short sound bites, the 30-minute episodes, the things that you guys can just tap into, and it's like, okay, cool, like what they're talking about is substantial, like it's substance. Something to meditate. Do you know what I mean? Like, it gives you something to think about. It doesn't need to be long-winded and drawn out. It just needs to be those things that you guys can go out. Like, just come back to every now and again. But we appreciate your support, guys.
Honestly, keep on supporting, subscribing, sharing, liking. Sending our stuff to people that it might resonate with. Like, we really appreciate the support. Like, it's funny that, well, not funny, but it's nice, and it kind of allows us to see that when we do say we want to do things, we can do it, and we can actually do it to a good standard. And that's one thing that's very important to us. We like quality.
Exactly. Quality over quantity, guys. 100%. We'll be back sooner than you think. So don't worry, we're not going away forever. It's not that thing, but we'll be back soon. And in the break, just recycle the old content. I feel like it every time you listen to it, you can get something new. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, you guys. Bye. We'll see you later.